Hello and welcome back to Andrew's Journeys, or welcome to Andrew's Journeys. And today I'm gonna do something a little bit different. Today I'm gonna be talking about how to write creative stories, because lately I've been seeing people saying they don't really know they don't know what to write about. Is basically what I'm saying. At least this is what I'm thinking is going. I think what's going on is people are having a hard time to be creative. It's just so that's why I'm doing creative stories for this video. Not just any stories, 'cause stories could be anything. Your entire life is a story as well. So it literally could be anything. So that's why I'm doing creative stories, because I feel like that main thing that people struggle with when it comes to stories, writing stories for like characters or whatnot, the main struggle is creativity. So I'm gonna be talking through some of that today. I'm gonna be talking through some planning later on in the video. You'll see that later on. So stick later on. I'll have little sections, each little section of throughout the entire video. So if you don't want to watch a certain section, you can skip ahead to whatever timestamp I put it in, whatever chapter I put it in. If you want to watch the whole video, fantastic, great, that's awesome. But if you don't want to watch the whole video and you're struggling with one certain thing, then you can just go to the certain timestamp chapter. And yeah, except before I get to any of that planning stuff and all that, also I have a visual ready and set up for y'all. So yeah, when I get to that, creativity, how to be creative is many people struggle with creativity. I am not one of those people. Because I'm a very creative person, I'm going to help the people who do struggle with creativity, which I feel like many people struggle with creativity. We'll just go through like a few steps, help your brain start being a little bit more creative, and hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be a more creative person, not just to only write stories, but for anything, like art-wise or just anything that is creative. So yeah, my first little tip is brainstorming. That is the biggest thing to do when it comes to creativity is brainstorming. If you have no idea what brainstorming is literally just coming up with an entire list. Doesn't matter how wacky these ideas are, you just mark down as many ideas as possible, whatever the first thing that comes to your mind, and you're gonna write that down. At the end, you're gonna start crossing some of those ideas off, and then you're gonna choose the number one that you like the most. And that is what brainstorming is, for anyone who doesn't know what it is. This is one of the best ways to be creative, because you're just thinking about all these sorts of ideas and all that. That brainstorming is number one most important thing. One of the most important things to be creative. It is gonna help you think of some stuff and all sorts of stuff. Number two is going to be inspiration. A lot of stuff that we watch and see, a lot of creative stuff comes from inspiration. Doesn't mean you have to copy exactly, but a lot of it comes from inspiration. Some of my ideas that I come up with, I probably most likely been inspired by something. Like my latest project, TAOB, The Adventure of Bob, TAOB is for short for The Adventure of Bob. That stop motion, for example, I was inspired by the Smash Brothers stage, so I put it in the final battle with generic bad guy, with Bob and generic bad guy fighting. Something like that. If there's something you really like out of media or something, go ahead, be inspired by that. That is what is going to get creativity flowing. Being inspired by something is going to help you be a little more creative. I know everyone thinks creativity is, this unique thing, but actually no. Part of the creativity is inspiration. That is another big one. A third thing is, for at least me, I kind of grew up surrounded by creativity. I like to do art. I'm literally surrounded by a bunch of Legos. I grew up with Legos. And that is the third point. Surround yourself by creativity. It is going to help you at least be more creative if you're surrounded by creativity. Start building Legos with whatever comes up with your mind. It doesn't matter if the colors match. It doesn't matter what it is that you want to build. Start doing some art. Start surrounding your life. Well, you don't have to surround your whole life, but start putting some stuff, creative stuff into your life and start doing it more and more and more. And the more you do it, the more creative you're gonna get. Then going back to the inspiration thing. Sometimes use your surroundings to make stuff. Like some characters I made from just looking at objects. Sometimes if I cannot think of an idea, I look at my surroundings, choose a random thing, and make something out of that. There's so many things that we can just look around us, and you can find creativity there. Now, number one writing thing is everyone knows every story has the story sequence chart. Which if y'all have not seen it, I'll put an image on it. I'll put an image up on the screen. But what it is it's this little curve. It's like you're going up on a roller coaster ride, okay? So at the beginning is your characters and setting. This is where you're going to describe your characters. You're going to describe your setting, where it takes place, etc. Then you're gonna go up to here. You're gonna get the problem and slash the problem and the rising action. That's what your characters are facing. The problem they're facing during that story, whatever it is, and then also the rising action. The part it's slowly getting up to the most action act part. Then you're gonna get up here at the top of the roller coaster. That is your climax. This is the most action you're going to get. After that, you're going to go down the roller coaster. That's when the action starts to slow down. And then you're going to get to the bottom, which is the conclusion. You're back at the station. This is the conclusion. This is how your story ends. How is the problem solved? Is there a message to this story? Yada yada yada. All that. This is very, very good planning. This is helpful for planning. We've made it to the planning section of writing. So, of writing your story. So now that you have that, you're going to fill out the entire thing. Now, when it comes to describing that, wait, what should I have for the rising action? What should I have for the climax? When it comes to describing all of this, the biggest thing about writing is questions. You're gonna ask a bunch of questions. Think of it like a detective film a little bit. How the detective is just asking all these questions: who, what, where, why, to try to figure out this crime. That's what you're gonna do with writing. You're gonna do the exact same thing. You're gonna ask who, like for your characters, for example, who are they? What do they do? What do they like? How do they act around people? How do they speak? All this stuff is gonna go into your characters. Your setting is the same thing. Where is it? What time does it take place? How does your character speak? Do they speak in a country accent? If they do, then maybe they're in a little country place. All these questions you're gonna ask for all these things. Through the entire roller coaster, you're gonna be asking a bunch of questions. This is where brainstorming comes in. You're gonna brainstorm your details of your characters and all this, and you're gonna just brainstorm a bunch of ideas until you come to the one you really like. Again, back to the inspiration. There might be some other stories that inspired you to do this story. And then while you're doing this, you are going to be in the environment of creativity. You are going to surround yourself with creativity. After that, you are just going to do this thing what I call keyword outlining, which I'm going to show you right now on what on earth that even is. So keyword outlining, I just call it an example. Keyword outlining. I learned this during a writing class I took, and it is a major play in planning. A lot of people don't like the plan because they just want to write whatever, they want to get into the writing. But that is not what you're gonna do. You don't have to do this, but it's highly recommended. It's gonna give you a base, kind of like a house. It has a base, it has a sturdy structure to keep it all together. That's basically what this is. Every paragraph you're gonna mark with Roman numerals. Roman numeral 1 is where I'm going with. Now what this is you're gonna take at least 4 words. You have a maximum 4 words when you're doing this, and you're gonna just take something from a source or something. Now for writing stories, creative stories, that's gonna be a little different. I'll get to that. But for my example, I'm gonna use Humpty Dumpty. 4 keywords for the entire sentence. So let's say our first sentence was Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. So we're gonna take Humpty, and you put commas between each word. We're gonna do something like that. When you come to your writing, when you're actually writing, you're gonna retell it without looking at the original source. Now, as you see, I put the Humpty Dumpty. You might think, oh, Humpty Dumpty. I spelled Dumpty wrong. You might think Humpty Dumpty, that's 2 words, right? Well, when it comes to names are 1 whole word. If you wanted to add another word that just helps shorten stuff, you can. But Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall you don't really need to put on. Now let's take the second sentence, for example. And then you're gonna put a 1 for the next one, the next sentence. You might think, okay, well, I have to put Humpty Dumpty again, right? Well, you don't. You don't have to do that. Since we already stated Humpty Dumpty in the previous sentence, you can just put H.D. Great Fall. And there you go. Now, when it comes, see this abbreviation? Abbreviations, numbers, symbols like a boat symbol, they do not count as words because they're not really words. So those are counted as freebies. That's what they're called. We'll call those freebies. So if you wanted, let's say there's a longer sentence and there's like with, you can put like W's. That will not count as a word. Or let's say, I don't know, 2 million. Instead of writing all those words, which you wouldn't be able to do anyway, you can put that, and that would not count as a word. It's a freebie. So that is basically how keyword outlines work. When it comes to stories, how would you do that? Well, that comes all into your mind. So when it comes to stories, again, you those same question words. You can use what, all those same question question words a detective would use. You're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna write down the key words, whatever comes to your mind. Let's say, I played an instrument today, okay? Or I played the piano today, you know? You put that. Let's just pretend that's your sentence. So you're gonna take the 4 key words from that sentence. Play piano today. And there you go. It's gonna take a little bit more thinking for this, but you can do the same thing even if you don't have a source. It all comes from here. You're gonna use your mind, and then there's your plan, here's your notes, and then you're gonna rewrite it from here, and you're gonna do that. Again, you don't have to use this, but it's going to help you write stories when you have a plan, you have a structure. And I don't do this all the time. Like literally the stop motion I just did, I just started writing. But this is highly recommended. I mean, you most likely could use this more if there's a source, but you can still use it if it's your own idea. I mean, if you want to do this, it's definitely going to help for like a visual when you're writing down your story. Even though you already have the story in your mind, it could help you for memory purposes or something. It gives you a nice visual to have. That is basically it for the video. I really hope that helped. I hope that you can write some great stories out there. I do have some 2 challenges for you to go away with after this video, okay? And I'm gonna give you them right now, okay? The first challenge I have for you. This challenge I actually did myself. I want you to grab a paperclip, okay? You're gonna look at this paperclip and you're gonna write as many ideas as you can what you can use with this paper. I don't care if they're realistic or not. They can be wacky, like this paperclip can be used to rewind back time. I can use this paperclip as a time machine or something like that. I want you to start brainstorming some ideas on what this paperclip can do. I know I don't actually have a paperclip, but if I did, just pretend that invisible paperclip is right there. I want you to write down as many ideas. I don't care how wacky they are. Pretend that you actually wanted to pursue some of those things and what this paperclip can do, or pretend that you're experimenting with it and start crossing off ideas, and then cross off more until you get a final 5. And then once you get your final 5, choose your favorite one. And out of all of these ideas, I hope the one that you chose was actually creative. And maybe do this thing a couple more times. That is the first challenge. My second challenge is I'm going to give you a writing prompt. I love writing prompts. It's another way to get very creative writing. Prompts, in a way, is also kind of like planning. It's going to give you some great ideas when it comes to prompts. That's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be a prompt I wrote about this prompt before. And I hope this is gonna help. I hope this is gonna help you with your writing journey. So here is the prompt. My prompt is, there is 7 doors. 7 random doors that lead to I don't know where. You have a character, I don't care what their name is, you have a character and they have a choice. Are they going to open the doors? Find out what's on the other side? Are they going to turn back? Is there a way to turn back? That is up to you. The prompt is open and I want you to write about this prompt. And then by the end, hopefully you have a story from this. And yeah, and that is my 2 challenges for you. I challenge you to do both of them. If you don't do them, that's okay, but I highly recommend you do them. It's gonna help you in the future to come up with more and more writings. And I hope by the end of this video, I hope sometime during the future, or literally by the end of this video, I hope you start doing more and more and more and more creative things to get your brain flowing with creative ideas, to become a little bit more creative, but not only to also become a little more creative, but to know what to write about. So the next time you write, your paper would not be blank. But yeah, my goal is for you to know what to write about and how to write a story. And yeah, that is basically it for this video. I hope this video helped. I hope you learned something new, and I hope to learn how to get better at writing and better at creative writing, better at writing creative stories. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.